Allow me to begin with a question. What makes a legend? We are surrounded by legends. We are taught of famous warriors and rulers of old, battle upon battle of good versus evil. Schools teach us of the archetypes that categorize these heroes' battles. Man versus nature, man versus man, and man versus God. These themes are universal throughout the world's histories, myths, and legends. Legends that are rooted in idealism. Legends that serve to inspire the next generation and set an example for them to follow. Legends that embody a country through its people, culture, and stories, and while human, serve mostly as standards to compare our existence with, hoping that one day we reach for the stars, and the stars grasp back. However, for the vast majority of the world, these are fantasies. For a select few, they become heroes, worthy successors of the likes of Gilgamesh, Rustam, Odysseus, and David. But the question I pose to all of you today is what motivates someone to such heroics? What allows someone to take that step, unflinching? What gives someone the mental justification to sacrifice everything? The sacrifice of self-interest in favor of the greater good, often in situations where the sacrifice comes with a high risk to be ineffective. In essence, what drives bravery and courage to such extremes? Is it duty, like the warriors of Sparta or the Prussians with a state attached to their armor? Could it be love and devotion? The American rebels embodied this with no real popular support for their cause, relying on mostly their cohesive camaraderie to continue the fight. Anger and revenge are too narrow, as causes that people will fight for cannot be solely based on hate. The essence of this definition needs a cause that explains the vast majority of occurrences. The best way to prove any one of these things is by looking at heroes on both sides of the same conflict. For the Vietnam War, Phan Dinh Ngo was revered by the Vietnamese because during the Battle of Dien Bien Phu, he threw himself into the enemy bunker's gun port to block machine gun fire, allowing his comrades to advance at his expense. Michael Fitzmaurice was a U.S. Army soldier who threw himself on an enemy grenade to save his comrades in 1971. Despite severe injuries, he used his rifle and even his fists to continue the fight. During World War II, Fritz Christian single-handedly held off Soviet tanks with an anti-tank gun during the Battle of Leningrad for over 48 hours, destroying multiple tanks and killing dozens of enemy soldiers. Ivan Panfilov and 28 men during the defense of Moscow, known as Panfilov's Guardsmen today, held off a German tank assault by themselves, destroying multiple enemy vehicles before being overrun in order to delay the German advance to the city. As you can see, I have two victors, Fritz and Phan, and two losers, Ivan and Michael. Ivan got overrun. The US and France retreated from Vietnam. That's for two losers. However, the Germans never took Leningrad and eventually had to retreat. Therefore, we only really have one winner. Even then, the Battle of Dien Bien Phu only helped to convince the French to call in the Americans. So again, not really a strategic win either, although eventually, of course, the Vietnamese won. So, their sacrifices were for nothing, logic would tell us. Their sacrifices only caused more pain and destruction, despite the extraordinary bravery and actions of these people. These men truly were heroes for their nations and were immortalized in the songs, books, and movies that followed. The story that reached so far that I am now telling it to you 50 to 85 years later. So, to answer the question, yes, these men were legends, and there are thousands upon thousands of people just like them. But why? Why did they push so far? Why were they so willing? They all believed that their sacrifice, their self-worth, was of a less value than, or came second to, the needs and wants of what they perceived as their team. That concern for those around them and that willingness to do whatever it takes to protect them, to fulfill their desires, is commonplace in nearly all heroes, past and present. Of course, with each of these stories, these people became known for their feats, not their causes. Even if their causes, of course, were their core motivator, as is true for most myths and heroes told worldwide. You see, the world needs legends, not because their causes were great or the people were sinless, but the idea of something larger than us, an authority over our own, is grounded in the foundation of the basic morality that civilization stands for.